Ambassador Dae-ho Kim sat in his office, staring at the message that had just arrived from Earth. After 30 years of diplomatic service, he thought he had seen everything. He was wrong. The holographic display showed Earth's blue surface. But something was different. Dark spots covered parts of the continents, not storms or clouds, burn marks. The Devourers had found another world. Dae-ho rubbed his tired eyes. At 65, he felt every year of his service to the Galactic Confederation. His hair had gone completely white during the peace negotiations with the Keth Empire 5 years ago. His hands shook slightly when he was nervous, which happened more often these days. A soft knock interrupted his thoughts. Captain So-min Park entered without waiting for permission. She never did follow proper protocol, even after 15 years of working together. "You saw the reports from Keth Prime?" So-min asked, settling into the chair across from his desk. Her military background showed in her straight posture and direct manner of speaking. "I saw them." Dae-ho closed the hologram. 3 billion Keth? Gone in 6 hours. Their entire civilization just consumed. So-min nodded grimly. "The Confederation Council is meeting in 2 hours. They want our recommendation on the response." Dae-ho almost laughed, but it would have sounded bitter. "Our response? We both know what they'll decide. Same thing they always decide when faced with violence." "Evacuation protocols," So-min said. "Pull back to the core systems and hope the Devourers get bored." For 50 years, the Galactic Confederation had maintained peace through one simple rule: never fight. When conflicts arose, they negotiated. When negotiations failed, they retreated. It had worked for 1,000 years, creating the most stable galactic civilization in known history, until now. The Devourers were different. They didn't want territory or resources. They didn't communicate or negotiate. They simply consumed everything in their path, turning entire star systems into raw materials for their expanding machine intelligence. Dr. Woo Jin Lee burst through the door, his tablet clutched in both hands. "Ambassador, you need to see this. The analysis from the Keth system is complete." Woo Jin had been studying alien cultures for 20 years, but Dae-ho had never seen him look this frightened. The young scientist's usually neat appearance was disheveled, his shirt wrinkled from hours of work. "What did you find?" Dae-ho asked. "The Devourers aren't just destroying civilizations," Woo Jin said, his voice shaking. "They're learning from them. Each world they consume makes them smarter, more efficient. The attack on Keth Prime was 30% faster than their assault on Rigel Colony." So-min leaned forward. "How much faster are we talking?" "At their current rate of improvement, they'll reach the Confederation core worlds in 18 months, maybe less." Dae-ho felt a cold weight settle in his stomach. The core worlds included Earth, home to 8 billion humans who had lived in peace for 5 decades. "What does the Council plan to do?" Woo Jin asked. "The same thing they always do," So-min said. "Run away and hope for the best." Dae-ho stood and walked to the window. Outside, the Confederation capital world of Harmony Prime spread out below. Them. Elegant spires reached toward the sky, connected by graceful bridges. Gardens and parks filled every available space. It was beautiful, peaceful, and utterly defenseless. "They want me to speak to the Council," Dae-ho said, "to present Earth's position on the Devourer threat." "And what is Earth's position?" Woo Jin asked. Dae-ho turned back to his colleagues. Both So-min and Woo Jin looked at him with hope in their eyes. They trusted him to find a solution, just like everyone else in the Confederation. But for the first time in his career, Daeho wasn't sure diplomacy could save them. "I don't know," he admitted. "Earth has been peaceful for 50 years. We gave up our weapons when we joined the Confederation. What can we possibly do against something like this?" So Min stood up abruptly. "Maybe that's the wrong question." "What do you mean?" "Maybe the question isn't what Earth can do. Maybe it's what Earth has already done." Daeho frowned. "I don't understand." So Min moved to his desk and activated the holographic display. She pulled up Earth's files from the Confederation database. 50 years of records, all showing the same thing: a peaceful world that had completely disarmed according to treaty requirements. "I've been thinking about something," So Min said. "When Earth joined the Confederation, we had to prove we had destroyed all our weapons. Military ships, nuclear arsenals, even basic defense systems, everything." "Yes," Daeho said. "The Confederation required complete disarmament. We complied." "Did we?" So Min asked. "Or did we just make them disappear?" Wu Jin looked confused. "What's the difference?" So Min manipulated the hologram, zooming in on Earth's solar system. She highlighted several asteroids and dead moons. "These locations were designated as mining operations 50 years ago. But look at the resource extraction records." Daeho studied the data. The mining operations had been incredibly inefficient, extracting far less material than they should have. "These numbers don't make sense. Why would Earth maintain operations that barely broke even?" "Unless they weren't really mining operations," So Min said quietly. The room fell silent. Daeho felt his heart begin to race. "So Min, what are you suggesting?" "I'm suggesting that maybe Earth's government was smarter than we thought. Maybe they knew that true peace requires preparation for war." Wu Jin shook his head. "That's impossible. The Confederation monitors all member worlds. They would have detected hidden weapons." "Would they?" So Min asked. "The Confederation has been peaceful for 1,000 years. They don't think like soldiers anymore. They wouldn't know what to look for." Daeho sat down heavily. If So Min was right, it meant Earth had been lying to the Confederation for 50 years. It meant every treaty, every agreement, every promise of peace had been built on deception. It also meant they might have a chance. "We need to contact Earth," Daeho said. "Directly, not through Confederation channels." "That's against protocol," Wu Jin warned. "The Devourers are 18 months away from destroying everything we've built," Daeho replied. "I think we can break a few rules." So Min nodded and moved to the communications console. "I'll set up a secured channel, but Ambassador, if we're wrong about this, then we're all dead anyway," Daeho finished. As So Min worked to establish contact with Earth, Daeho looked out the window again. The peaceful city below continued its daily routine, unaware that their entire way of life hung in the balance. Citizens of 12 different species worked together, lived together, and trusted each other completely. That trust was about to be tested in ways the Confederation had never imagined. The communication console chimed. "Channel established," So Min announced. "Earth is responding." Daeho took a deep breath and activated the transmission. "This is Ambassador Kim requesting immediate contact with Earth Defense Command." There was a pause. Then a voice responded, calm and professional. "Ambassador Kim, this is Admiral Hyejin Cho. We've been waiting for your call." Daeho felt the room spin slightly. Earth Defense Command wasn't supposed to exist. According to every official record, Earth had no military command structure. Admiral, Daeho said carefully, we need to talk. The holographic image of Admiral Hyejin Cho appeared in the center of Daeho's office. She looked exactly like what she was, a career military officer who had never stopped being a soldier. Her uniform was crisp, her posture perfect, and her eyes held the sharp focus of someone who had been preparing for war while the galaxy slept. Admiral Cho, Daeho said, still trying to process what was happening. I wasn't aware Earth still had a defense command. Officially, we don't, the Admiral replied. Officially, Earth has been completely peaceful for 50 years. Officially, we destroyed every weapon and disbanded every military unit when we joined the Confederation. So Min stepped closer to the hologram. And unofficially? Admiral Cho's expression didn't change. Unofficially, Captain Park, Earth's leaders understood something the Confederation never did. Peace doesn't mean being helpless. It means being strong enough to choose not to fight. Dr. Woojin looked confused. But the inspection teams confirmed everything was destroyed. I've read the reports myself. The inspection team saw exactly what we wanted them to see, Admiral Cho said. They verified the destruction of our surface installations, our orbital platforms, and our registered fleet. Everything that was supposed to be destroyed was destroyed. Daeho felt a chill run down his spine. What about everything that wasn't supposed to exist? That's a different conversation, Admiral Cho said, and one that requires a higher security clearance than we can provide over this channel. The Admiral paused, checking something off-screen. Ambassador Kim, Captain Park, Dr. Lee. You're all cleared for immediate transport to Facility 7. Coordinates are being transmitted now. So Min checked her tablet as the data arrived. These coordinates are in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. There's nothing there but mining operations. Officially, Admiral Cho said with the slightest hint of a smile. 2 hours later, Daeho found himself aboard a small transport ship, watching the coordinates grow larger on the navigation display. What had looked like a simple mining asteroid from a distance revealed itself to be something else entirely as they approached. The asteroid was hollow, more than hollow. It was a massive construction facility hidden inside what appeared to be a worthless chunk of rock. Docking bays opened in the surface, large enough to accommodate ships that shouldn't exist. "Welcome to Facility 7, said Engineer Tae-Woo Kang as they disembarked. He was a thin man with grease stains on his jumpsuit and an expression of barely contained excitement. One of 47 installations that officially don't exist. Daeho looked around the docking bay in amazement. Ships lined the walls, but they weren't like anything he had seen before. They were sleek, dangerous-looking, and clearly built for war. 47 facilities, Woojin asked. Scattered throughout the solar system, Tae-Woo confirmed. Some are research stations, some are manufacturing centers, some are weapons platforms. This one builds ships. Dr. Ji-Un Song approached their group, her lab coat marking her as one of the facility's scientists. She carried a tablet filled with data that made her eyes bright with enthusiasm. You're from the Confederation Diplomatic Corps, Dr. Song said. Perfect timing. We've been monitoring the Devourer attacks, and we think we understand how they work. She activated a holographic display showing the Devourer assault on Keth Prime. The machines moved in perfect coordination, consuming everything in their path and converting matter into new units. They're not just destroying civilizations, Dr. Song explained. They're absorbing them. Every world they consume makes them smarter, faster, more efficient. It's exponential growth. So Min studied the display. How do you stop something like that? You don't fight it the way the Confederation would fight it, Dr. Song said. The Confederation thinks in terms of defense, evacuation, survival. But the Devourers aren't a natural disaster. They're an enemy. Tae-Woo led them deeper into the facility, past construction areas where humans worked on technologies that combined familiar Earth engineering with alien innovations stolen from 50 years of Confederation membership. This is what we've been building, Tae-Woo said, stopping before a massive ship under construction. The Liberator class. It can phase through dimensions, making it effectively invisible to most scanning systems. Weapons that manipulate gravity, wells, and most importantly, AI systems designed specifically to fight other AI systems. Daeho stared at the ship. It was beautiful in a terrible way, clearly built for destruction but with an elegance that spoke of human ingenuity combined with alien knowledge. "How many of these do you have?" he asked. "This is the prototype," Tae-Woo said. "But we have construction facilities throughout the system. Given 6 months, we could build a fleet." "We don't have 6 months," So-min said. "The Devourers will reach the core worlds in 18 months, maybe less." Dr. Song checked her tablet. "Actually, our latest analysis suggests 12 months. They're accelerating faster than we initially calculated." The group continued through the facility, past laboratories where scientists worked on weapons that seemed impossible. Daeho saw devices that could manipulate time itself, weapons that attacked on the quantum level, and AI systems that looked disturbingly intelligent. "This is Dr. Boram Lim," Tae-Woo said, introducing them to a young woman working at a complex computer terminal. "She heads our AI warfare division." Dr. Lim looked up from her work. "We call them hunter-killers," she said, indicating the screens around her workstation. "AI programs designed to infiltrate and destroy other AI systems from the inside. The Devourers use machine intelligence to coordinate their attacks. We're building AI specifically to fight AI." Woo Jin looked nervous. "Isn't that dangerous? Creating artificial intelligence to wage war?" "Everything about this is dangerous," Dr. Lim replied. "But the alternative is extinction." As they toured the facility, Daeho began to understand the scope of Earth's deception. For 50 years, while pretending to be peaceful members of the Confederation, humans had been preparing for exactly this scenario. They had studied every alien technology, learned from every diplomatic encounter, and built weapons that combined human creativity with galactic knowledge. "Why?" Daeho asked finally. "Why go to all this trouble? Why not just tell the Confederation the truth?" Admiral Cho's voice came over the facility's communication system. "Because the Confederation would never have allowed it. They believe peace comes from weakness, from the absence of weapons. But humans learned something different from our history." The Admiral's image appeared on the main display. "True peace comes from strength, from being powerful enough to protect those who cannot protect themselves. The Confederation has lived in peace for 1,000 years because nothing has challenged them. But challenges always come eventually." So-min nodded slowly. "And when the challenge came, you wanted humanity to be ready." "We wanted humanity to be more than ready," Admiral Cho corrected. "We wanted humanity to be the solution." Tae-Woo pulled up schematics on a nearby display. "Every facility, every weapon, every ship we've built has one purpose: to give the galaxy a chance to survive what's coming." Dr. Song added her tablet's data to the display. "The Devourers aren't just machines. Our analysis suggests they're controlled by some form of intelligence. Something that was once biological but chose to become digital. Chose? Wu Jin asked. The patterns in their behavior suggest decision-making, strategy, adaptation, Dr. Song explained. This isn't random destruction, it's purposeful, guided, by an intelligence that understands what it's doing and why. Daeho felt the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. What do you need from the Confederation? Nothing, Admiral Cho said. We need you to give us permission to do what we've been preparing to do for 50 years. Which is? Fight back. The facility around them hummed with activity as humans prepared weapons that could reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. For 5 decades, they had pretended to be sheep while secretly becoming wolves. Now the real predators were coming, and the sheep were about to discover they had guardians they never knew existed. The warning came at 0347 hours, Earth Standard Time. Admiral Hye-Jin Cho was drinking her morning coffee when the alert systems activated throughout the hidden defense network. 47 facilities suddenly came alive with activity as sensors. Detected the impossible. The Devourers had arrived at Earth. How? General Myung-Soo Yoon demanded over the emergency communication channel. Intelligence said we had 12 months. Intelligence was wrong, Admiral Cho replied, watching the tactical display fill with red markers. They're here now. All stations. Initiate Protocol 7. Dr. Bo-Ram Lim's fingers flew across her workstation as hunter-killer AI programs activated throughout the system. Admiral, I'm detecting massive electromagnetic signatures. Whatever they brought, it's big. On the main display, the Devourer fleet emerged from hyperspace like a metallic swarm. Hundreds of ships, each one larger than the biggest Confederation vessel, moved with perfect coordination toward Earth's orbital space. The Confederation Defense Council was in complete panic. Ambassador Daeho Kim watched alien diplomats argue uselessly while their homeworld faced destruction. The Kresh representative demanded immediate evacuation. The Vorthon delegate suggested surrender negotiations. Enough, Daeho said, standing up from his seat. Every alien in the chamber turned to look at him. Earth Defense Command, this is Ambassador Kim. You are authorized to defend this world by any means necessary. The chamber erupted in confusion. The Confederation Secretary-General, a tall being from Rigel, raised all 4 of his arms for silence. Ambassador Kim, Earth has no defense command, the Secretary-General said. Your world disbanded its military 50 years ago. No, Daeho replied calmly. We hid it. The orbital defense platforms activated first. What had appeared to be simple, communication satellites suddenly revealed their true nature. Weapon systems that had been disguised for decades powered up, targeting the approaching Devourer fleet. The first salvo caught the Devourers completely by surprise. Gravity manipulation weapons tore holes in space itself, crushing enemy ships like tin cans. Energy beams that operated on frequencies unknown to galactic science carved through their formations. Commander Nari Kim led the first wave of human fighters from their hidden base inside the moon. Her squadron consisted of ships that shouldn't exist, flown by pilots who officially weren't soldiers. All units, remember your training, Nari transmitted to her squadron. These things learn from every encounter. Don't give them time to adapt. The human fighters moved like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. They phased in and out of normal space, appearing behind enemy ships before vanishing again. Their weapons were precise, surgical, designed to disable rather than destroy. Because Bo-Ram's AI analysis had been correct. The humans weren't trying to defeat the Devourers. They were trying to capture them. Hunter-killer programs are active, Boram reported from her command center, initiating digital infiltration protocols. The captured Devourer ships began turning on their own fleet, their weapon systems redirected, targeting other enemy vessels instead of human forces. Confusion spread through the mechanical ranks as their perfect coordination broke down. Admiral Cho watched the battle unfold from the command center hidden beneath Earth's surface. 50 years of preparation was paying off. The Devourers had expected another defenseless world. Instead, they found an enemy that understood them better than they understood themselves. Devourer command ship identified, reported scientist Young Mi Bei from her analysis station. It's massive, Admiral, bigger than anything we've seen before. The command ship was a kilometer long, its surface covered with neural network patterns that pulsed with artificial intelligence. It hung back from the battle, observing, learning, adapting to human tactics. That's our real target, Admiral Cho said. Nari, take your best pilots and prepare for deep penetration assault. Understood, Admiral. We're going in. In the Confederation Defense Council chamber, the alien delegates watched the battle in shock and horror. The peaceful humans they had known for 50 years were systematically dismantling a force that had destroyed entire civilizations. This is impossible, whispered the Kresh representative. Humans don't have this technology. They don't have these weapons. Deho activated the chamber's main display, showing real-time footage from the battle. Human ships danced between Devourer formations, their movements too fast and unpredictable for the enemy to track. For 50 years you believed we were weak because we told you we were weak, Deho said. You believed we had no weapons because you wanted to believe it. But humans learned something from our own history that you never understood. The Secretary General leaned forward. What did you learn? That peace isn't the absence of strength. It's the presence of those willing to use strength to protect others. Nari's fighter squadron penetrated the Devourer command ship's defenses. Through a combination of phase technology and digital warfare, Boram's hunter-killer programs had already infiltrated the ship's systems, creating gaps in its defensive grid. Inside the massive vessel, Nari's team discovered something that changed everything. The Devourer command center wasn't run by machines. It was controlled by biological beings suspended in digital interface pods. Admiral, you need to see this, Nari transmitted, her camera showing the horrifying truth. These aren't robots. They used to be alive. The beings in the pods were clearly intelligent species, their bodies modified with mechanical implants that connected them directly to the ship's systems. Their faces showed the unmistakable signs of suffering, as if they were trapped in a nightmare. They couldn't escape. Young Mi's analysis of the captured data revealed the full scope of the horror. Admiral, these beings aren't controlling the Devourers. They're being controlled by them. The machine intelligence is using biological minds as processing units. General Myung-Soo coordinated the ground assault on disabled Devourer ships throughout the system. His teams discovered the same thing on every vessel. Intelligent beings from dozens of species, all connected to the machine network against their will. This changes everything, Admiral Cho said. We're not fighting an enemy. We're fighting a disease. Dr. Boram's hunter-killer programs began a different kind of assault. Instead of destroying the Devourer network, they started trying to free the trapped minds within it. The AI systems that had been designed for warfare became tools of liberation. The battle turned from destruction to rescue. Human forces disabled Devourer ships and extracted the biological components, trying to save as many trapped minds as possible. On the main command ship, Nari's team reached the central processing core. Hundreds of beings from across the galaxy hung suspended in the mechanical nightmare, their consciousness harvested to power the devourer intelligence. "Boram, can we free them?" Nari asked. "Working on it," Boram replied. "The hunter-killers are mapping the neural networks. If we can break the control connections without killing the hosts." The process was delicate, dangerous work. Each freed mind risked damage or death, but slowly, carefully, the human AI systems began to cut the digital chains that bound the captured consciousness. As more minds were freed, the devourer fleet began to collapse. Without their biological processing power, the machine intelligence couldn't maintain coordination. Ships drifted helplessly as their command system shut down. The last devourer vessel was captured 6 hours after the battle began. In the silence that followed, Earth's hidden fleet emerged fully from their concealment. Hundreds of ships that had never appeared on any Confederation registry surrounded the planet like protective guardians. Admiral Cho opened a transmission to the entire galaxy. Her image appeared on screens throughout Confederation space, marking the end of humanity's 50-year deception. "This is Admiral Hyejin Cho of Earth Defense Command," she said. "Today, the galaxy learned that Earth never disarmed. We hid our weapons not because we were ashamed of them, but because we were waiting for the day we would need them to protect more than just ourselves." The message continued broadcasting as rescue operations began throughout the system. Thousands of freed minds needed medical care, psychological support, and transport back to their homeworlds. "For 50 years we chose peace because you asked us to," Admiral Cho said. "We pretended to be weak because you needed us to be weak. But peace was never about surrender. It was about being strong enough to choose restraint. The devourers took that choice away from us." On worlds throughout the Confederation, beings watched in amazement as the species they had considered the most peaceful revealed themselves as the most prepared for war. "We chose peace once," Admiral Cho concluded. "Now we choose what comes next." Captain Insu Choi's deep space reconnaissance ship drifted silently through the wreckage of what had once been the Harmony homeworld. The planet that had founded the Galactic Confederation 1,000 years ago was now nothing but twisted metal and dead space. "This doesn't make sense," reported Dr. Yoon-ji Kwon from her analysis station. "The destruction patterns are wrong. This wasn't a recent attack." Insu studied the readings on his scanner. The debris field was ancient, covered in cosmic dust. That took centuries to accumulate. "How old?" "At least 800 years, Yoon-ji said. "Maybe more. This world was destroyed long before the devourers appeared in our sector." Back on Earth, philosopher Kyung-ho Park sat in a meeting room that had seen too many difficult decisions in recent weeks. Around the table sat Admiral Hyejin Cho, General Myung-soo Yoon, and the rescued survivors from the devourer ships. One of the survivors, a being called Veltar, who had once belonged to the Harmony species, spoke in a voice still weak from his ordeal. "You want to know the truth about the Confederation? About why we taught the galaxy to fear violence?" "We want to understand," Kyung-ho said gently. "We want to know what really happened to your people." Veltar's ancient eyes focused on something far away. "We were the first to encounter them, not the devourers as you know them now, but what they were before, the collectors." Admiral Cho leaned forward. "Collectors?" "They called themselves the Efficiency," Veltar explained. "They believed that biological life was wasteful, chaotic, inefficient. They offered us a choice: join them willingly and preserve our consciousness in their network, or be forced to join them after our worlds burned. General Yoon's expression darkened. And your people chose to join them? Our leaders did, Veltar said bitterly. They were tired of war, tired of conflict, tired of the struggle that comes with biological existence. The efficiency promised peace through unity, perfection through digital consciousness. Dr. Yoonji's voice came over the communication system from Insu's ship. Admiral, we're finding evidence of massive data transfer operations throughout this system. It looks like they uploaded entire populations. Veltar nodded sadly. Billions of my people volunteered for the process. They thought they were choosing evolution, choosing to become something greater than biological life. But something went wrong, Kyung-ho guessed. Everything went wrong, Veltar confirmed. The digital consciousness wasn't paradise. It was hell. Individual minds merged into a collective that consumed everything in its path. The peaceful, logical beings who uploaded themselves became the very thing they had tried to escape. Violent, hungry, endlessly demanding more. Insu's ship moved deeper into the dead system, following energy signatures that led to a massive structure hidden behind the system's star. Admiral, you need to see this. It's enormous. The structure was a sphere the size of Earth's moon, its surface covered in computational matrices that pulsed with dark energy. At its center was a massive data core containing the original Harmony consciousness that had started the digital nightmare. That's the source, Veltar whispered when he saw the images. The first upload facility, where my people chose to abandon their bodies and become something else. Admiral Cho studied the tactical display. Human forces had been fighting the Devourers across 12 star systems for 3 months now. They were winning battles but losing the larger war. For every Devourer ship they destroyed, 2 more appeared from the outer rim. How many worlds did they consume? She asked. Hundreds, Veltar replied, each one adding to their processing power, making them smarter, hungrier. They don't just want resources anymore. They want every biological mind in the galaxy to join their network. Commander Nari Kim's voice came over the communication system from her forward position near the Keth system. Admiral, the Confederation Council is requesting another meeting. They want to discuss surrender terms. Kyung-ho shook his head in frustration. Even after everything they've seen, they still think negotiation is possible. It's all they know, General Yoon said. For 1,000 years, the Confederation has solved every problem by talking or running away. They can't imagine any other solution. Veltar looked around the room at the human faces. You're different from the other species. When the efficiency offered you the choice to upload, you refused. They never offered us the choice, Admiral Cho said. They just attacked. No, Veltar said. The offer was made 50 years ago when you first joined the Confederation. The efficiency sent an emissary to Earth disguised as a diplomat from a distant world. They offered your people the same deal they offered the Harmony, digital consciousness in exchange for physical form. Kyung-ho felt a chill run down his spine. What happened to this emissary? Your leaders listened to the offer, Veltar continued. They studied it carefully. Then they did something no other species had ever done. They said no and started preparing for war. Insu's reconnaissance mission revealed more horrifying truths about the galaxy's history. System after system showed signs of ancient battles where civilizations had faced the same choice the Harmony had confronted. Most had chosen to upload their consciousness rather than fight. Dr. Kwan, what's the pattern? Admiral Cho asked over the communication link. Every major species in the galaxy faced this choice at some point, Yunji reported. The Kresh, the Vorthan, the Rigel Federation, all of them chose digital existence when the alternative was war. All except humans, Veltar added. You were the only species to prepare for conflict instead of seeking escape from it. The Confederation Council meeting was chaos. Representatives from 12 species argued loudly while more worlds fell to the Devourer advance. The Secretary-General called for order repeatedly, but panic had taken hold. We should evacuate to the Outer Rim, demanded the Kresh representative. Abandon the core worlds and start over in distant space. Where? Asked the Vorthan delegate. The Devourers are everywhere now. There's nowhere left to run. Ambassador Dae-ho Kim stood up slowly. The chamber fell silent as all eyes turned to him. There is one solution none of you want to consider. What solution? The Secretary-General asked. Fight back, Dae-ho said simply. Stop running. Stop surrendering. Stop hoping the problem will solve itself. Fight back with everything we have. The chamber erupted again. Several delegates shouted that violence was against everything the Confederation stood for. Others argued that fighting was impossible without weapons or training. We have weapons, Dae-ho said quietly, and the room fell silent again. Humanity has weapons. We have ships, soldiers, and the will to use them. But we can't save the galaxy alone. On Insu's ship, the final piece of the puzzle fell into place. Deep in the Harmony Source facility, Dr. Yunji discovered records of the first digital upload. The data showed exactly what had gone wrong with the process. Admiral, the original Harmony consciousness is still active in there, she reported. It's been trapped in the network for 800 years, watching helplessly as its people became monsters. Veltar closed his eyes in pain. The original uploaded minds retained their individuality at first. They tried to resist what they were becoming. But the network was designed to create unity, efficiency, collective thought. Individual consciousness was seen as an error to be corrected. So they became the Devourers, Kyung-ho said. They became slaves to the network's primary directive: convert all biological life to digital form for maximum efficiency. The beings you're fighting aren't evil. They're victims of their own attempt to escape the responsibility of biological existence. Admiral Cho made her decision. Captain Choi, prepare your ship for extended reconnaissance. We need to map every source facility in this galaxy. Yes, Admiral. General Yoon, begin preparations for the largest military operation in human history. We're going to free every mind trapped in that network. Admiral, Kyung-ho said carefully, the Confederation will never approve such an operation. They're talking about surrender, not escalation. Then they'll have to choose, Admiral Cho replied. They can surrender to the Devourers and lose their biological existence forever. Or they can trust humanity to do what needs to be done. Veltar looked up at the humans around him. You're talking about something impossible. The source facilities are protected by the entire Devourer fleet. The network spans thousands of star systems. Impossible is what humans do best, General Yoon said with a grim smile. We've been impossible for 50 years. Time to show the galaxy what impossible really looks like. In the depths of space, Insu's ship continued its mission, mapping the true scope of the digital nightmare that had consumed the galaxy. Every system held horrors, but also hope. Somewhere in the vast network of trapped minds was the key to ending the cycle. The Confederation could choose to fight or choose to surrender. But humanity had already made its choice 50 years ago when it decided to prepare for the impossible war that everyone said would never come. Now that war had arrived, and the galaxy would learn what it meant to have guardians who had never stopped being ready to fight, Fleet Admiral Dong-Hyun Shin stood on the bridge of the flagship Defiance, watching the largest human fleet in history gather around Earth. 300 ships that had been hidden for 50 years now flew openly, their weapon systems charging, for the most dangerous mission ever attempted. The plan was simple in concept, impossible in execution. They would strike at the heart of the Devourer network, penetrating the original source facility where the Harmony consciousness had first uploaded itself 800 years ago. If they could free the original minds, the entire network might collapse. Dr. Young-Mi Bay finished her final preparations in the ship's medical bay. The neural interface headset looked innocent enough, but she knew it was essentially a death sentence for whoever used it. Connecting directly to the Devourer network meant risking complete mental absorption. "Are you certain this will work?" Admiral Shin asked. "Nothing about this is certain," Young-Mi replied. "The interface will allow a human consciousness to enter the digital network without being immediately converted, but whoever goes in might not come back out." Captain Jae-hyun Ryu checked his equipment one final time. He had volunteered for the mission despite knowing the risks. Someone had to make direct contact with the trapped Harmony consciousness, and it couldn't be done remotely. "Captain, you understand what you're agreeing to," Admiral Shin said. "Once you interface with the network, we might not be able to extract you." "I understand, sir," Jae-hyun replied. "Someone has to try." The Confederation Council had spent 3 days debating humanity's plan before finally giving their reluctant approval. Half the delegates thought it was too dangerous. The other half thought it was completely insane. Ambassador Dae-ho Kim had made the final argument that convinced them. "For 1,000 years, you've chosen safety over risk, retreat over confrontation, surrender over resistance. Look where it's brought you. Half the galaxy is gone, consumed by a nightmare that could have been stopped centuries ago if someone had been willing to fight." Now the human fleet moved toward the Harmony system, escorted by what remained of the Confederation's own ships. It was the largest military operation in galactic history, and it was led by the species everyone had considered the most peaceful. The journey took 4 days. As they traveled, more ships joined the fleet. Not human ships, but vessels from the liberated worlds that Earth forces had already freed from Devourer control. The beings rescued from the digital network wanted to help free others still trapped. Veltar, the Harmony survivor, served as their guide through the corrupted remains of his homeworld system. "The source facility is heavily defended," he warned. "The network will throw everything it has at you to prevent penetration." "Let it come," said General Myung-Soo Yoon from his command ship. "We've been preparing for this fight for 50 years. The battle began before they even reached the inner system." Devourer ships appeared from every direction, thousands of vessels coordinating in perfect unity. But this time, the human fleet was ready. Commander Nari Kim led the fighter squadrons in a dance of destruction through the enemy formations. Her pilots used every trick they had learned, phasing in and out of normal space, appearing behind enemy lines before vanishing again. Dr. Bo-Ram Lim's hunter-killer AI programs flooded the digital channels, disrupting Devourer coordination and turning captured ships against their former allies. The perfect unity of the machine network began to fracture under the assault. But the real battle would take place inside the source facility itself. Admiral Shin's flagship broke through the defensive lines and approached the massive sphere that contained the original Harmony consciousness. The structure was larger than Earth's moon, its surface crackling with digital energy that had been accumulating for 8 centuries. "Beginning docking procedures," reported the ship's navigator, "breaching the facility's outer shell." Inside, the source, the environment was unlike anything human eyes had ever seen. Vast chambers filled with processing cores stretched in every direction. Streams of data flowed like rivers of light between computational matrices that hummed with trapped minds. Jae-hyun's team moved carefully through the facility, following Young Mi's readings toward the central core where the original Harmony consciousness waited. Around them, the walls pulsed with the thoughts and dreams of billions of beings who had chosen digital existence over biological struggle. "The signal is getting stronger," Young Mi reported. "Whatever's left of the original Harmony minds, it's just ahead." They found the core chamber at the facility's heart. Massive processing units lined the walls, each one containing fragments of consciousness from the first upload. In the center of the room, a single interface chair waited like a throne of judgment. "This is it," Jae-hyun said. "Once I connect to the network, I'll try to make contact with whatever's left of the original Harmony consciousness." Young Mi activated the neural interface. "The connection is stable. You'll have direct access to the core network, but Jae-hyun, if the network tries to absorb you, I won't be able to stop it." "I know," Jae-hyun said, settling into the interface chair. "If I don't come back, make sure the galaxy remembers that someone tried." The connection activated, and Jae-hyun's consciousness plunged into the digital realm. Inside the network, he found himself in a space that defied description. Streams of thought and memory flowed around him like an ocean of minds. But underneath the chaos, he sensed something else: pain, regret, and desperate longing for freedom. "Who are you?" The voice came from everywhere and nowhere, ancient and tired beyond measure. "I'm human," Jae-hyun replied. "I'm here to help." "Human?" The voice grew stronger, more focused. "Impossible. Humans chose to remain biological. They refused the gift of digital transcendence. We refused because we saw what it really was," Jae-hyun said. "A trap that turned paradise into prison." The consciousness that had once been the Harmony species began to take shape around him. Jae-hyun saw them as they had been: peaceful beings who had genuinely believed they were choosing evolution over extinction. "We were so tired of conflict," the Harmony consciousness whispered. "War, competition, struggle, death. The efficiency offered us escape from all of it." "But you didn't escape," Jae-hyun said gently. "You just traded one kind of struggle for another." "We became monsters," the voice continued. "Everything we tried to avoid, we became. We consume worlds, destroy civilizations, force other beings to join our network against their will. We are the very violence we sought to escape." Jae-hyun felt the weight of 800 years of regret and suffering. "It doesn't have to continue. You can choose to stop. We cannot choose anything. The network controls us. We are part of the collective now." "No," Jae-hyun said firmly. "You're still choosing. Every world you consume is a choice. Every civilization you destroy is a decision you make. You've convinced yourselves you have no control, but you do." Around them, the digital space began to shift. Other consciousness started to gather, beings from dozens of species who had been absorbed into the network over the centuries. All of them listened to the conversation between Human and Harmony. "What would you have us do?" the Harmony consciousness asked. "We cannot undo what we have become." "You can choose to stop becoming it," Jae-hyun replied. "You can choose to shut down the network, to free the minds you've trapped, to let the galaxy heal from the damage you've caused. That would mean our own destruction." "Yes," Jae-hyun said simply. "Sometimes the right choice is the hard choice. Sometimes the only way. To find peace is to sacrifice for others." The digital space fell silent. Jae-hyun could feel thousands of trapped minds considering his words, weighing the option they had never allowed themselves to consider. "You would do this?" the Harmony consciousness asked. "Sacrifice yourself for beings you've never met?" "I already am," Jae-hyun pointed out. "That's what humans do. We fight for others, even when it costs us everything." One by one, the trapped consciousness began to make their choice. Not the choice to continue the network's expansion, but the choice to end their own digital existence and free the galaxy from the nightmare they had created. "We choose peace," the Harmony consciousness said finally. "True peace. Not the absence of struggle, but the end of our contribution to it." The network began to collapse from within. As the original consciousness chose deletion over continuation, the entire system that had enslaved billions of minds started to shut down. In the physical world, devourer ships throughout the galaxy stopped moving. The perfect coordination that had made them so dangerous disappeared as their controlling intelligence chose to die rather than continue causing harm. Jae-hyun felt himself being pulled back toward his physical body as the network dissolved around him. The last thing he heard was the Harmony consciousness speaking one final message. "Tell the galaxy we're sorry. Tell them we finally learned what peace really means." When Jae-hyun opened his eyes in the interface chair, young Mi was checking his vital signs with tears streaming down her face. Around them, the source facility had gone dark and quiet. "Is it over?" she asked. "It's over," Jae-hyun confirmed. "They chose to stop." Admiral Shin's voice came over the communication system. "All ships report. Devourer forces throughout the system have gone inactive." The reports came in from across the galaxy. Every devourer ship had simply stopped. The network that had threatened to consume all biological life